Which area is used in case of heat flow by conduction through a cylinder? A. Logarithmic mean area. B. Arithmetic mean area. C. Geometric mean area. D. None of these. The correct answer is logarithmic mean area. Heat transfer by conduction results due to the transfer of free electrons, kinetic energy, vibrational energy from one molecule to another. Conduction heat transfer cannot take place A. Between two bodies in physical contact with each other. B. Between two bodies not in physical contact with each other. C. From one part of a body to the another part of the same body. D. Both B. C. The correct answer is between two bodies not in physical contact with each other. The dimensionless group in mass transfer that is equivalent to Prandtl number in heat transfer is A. Nusselt number. B. Sherwood number. C. Schmidt number. D. Stanton number. The correct answer is Schmidt number. Finned tube heat exchangers. A. Give larger area per tube. B. Use metal fins of low thermal conductivity. C. Facilitate very large temperature drop through tube wall. D. Are used for smaller heat load. The correct answer is give larger area per tube. The absorptivity of a gray body at a given temperature with increasing wavelength of radiation. A. Increases. B. Decreases. C. Remains constant. D. May increase or decrease depends on the material. The correct answer is may increase or decrease depends on the material. Which one gives the monochromatic emissive power for black body radiation? A. Planck's law. B. Kirchhoff's law. C. Wien's law. D. Stefan-Boltzman law. The correct answer is Planck's law. For what value of Prandtl number treat F2? A. 1.5. B. 1. C. 1. D. 1. The correct answer is 1. In a shell and tube heat exchanger, other temperature drops in the two fluids and the wall are proportional to individual resistances. B. The temperature drop is inversely proportional to the resistance across which the drop occurs. C. There is no relationship between temperature drop and resistance. D. The relationship is not generalized. The correct answer is the temperature drops in the two fluids and the wall are proportional to individual resistances. Dietus-Boelter equation used for the determination of heat transfer coefficient is valid. A. For fluids in laminar flow. B. For fluids in turbulent flow. C. When Grashof number is very important. D. For liquid metals. The correct answer is for fluids in turbulent flow. The equation corresponds to analogy. A. Von Karman. B. Reynolds. C. Colburn. D. Prandtl. The correct answer is Prandtl. For large heat transfer area requirement, shell and tube heat exchanger is preferred because it A. Occupies smaller space. B. Is more economical. C. Is easy to operate and maintain. D. All A, B, and C. The correct answer is all A, B, and C. Out of the following four assumptions used in the derivation of the equation for LMTD, which one is subject to the largest deviation in practice? A. Constant overall heat transfer coefficient. B. Constant rate of fluid flow. C. Constant specific heat. D. No partial phase change in the system. The correct answer is constant rate of fluid flow. Heat flux increases with temperature drop beyond the Leidenfrost point in the plot of heat flux versus temperature drop for a boiling liquid because A. Convection becomes important. B. Conduction becomes important. C. Radiation becomes important. D. Subcooled boiling occurs. The correct answer is radiation becomes important. Resistance to heat flow by conduction is proportional to where T R thickness density of the material respectively and A area normal to the direction of heat flow. AT. B1. C1A. D all ABC. The correct answer is all ABC. Temperature profile in steady-state heat transfer is A. Asymptotic, B. Hyperbolic, C. Parabolic, D. Linear. The correct answer is linear. For the same heat load and mass flow rate in the tube side of a shell and tube heat exchanger, one may use multipass on the tube side because it A. decreases the pressure drop, B. decreases the outlet temperature of cooling medium, C. increases the overall heat transfer coefficient, D. none of these. The correct answer is increases the overall heat transfer coefficient. When vaporization takes place through a blanketing film of gas, the phenomenon is termed as boiling. A. pool, B. nucleate, C. transition, D. film. The correct answer is film. Minimum recommended baffle spacing in a shell and tube heat exchanger is about where D. shell diameter, A. 0.2 D, B. 0.5 D, C. 0.66 D, D. 0.80 D. The correct answer is 0.2 D. Stefan-Boltzman law, which describes the radiation heat transfer, states that it is proportional to where T temperature in Ct absolute temperature in K. A. T4, B. T4, C. 1 T4, D. 1 T4. The correct answer is T4. The Nusselt number for fully developed both thermally and hydrodynamically laminar flow through a circular pipe where the wall heat flux is constant is A. 2.36, B. 4.36, C. 120.36, D. dependent on Henry only. The correct answer is 4.36. What is the unit of thermal conductivity? A. cal HR, M2C, B. cal HR.M, C. cal HR.M, D. cal HR, C. The correct answer is cal HR.M, C. The thermal radiation emitted by a body is proportional to Tn, where T is its absolute temperature. The value of N is exactly 4 for A. black painted bodies only, B. all bodies, C. polished bodies only, D. a black body. The correct answer is all bodies. It is not preferable to use superheated steam in evaporators because of its very A. high temperature, B. high pressure, C. low film coefficient, D. none of these. The correct answer is low film coefficient. It is desired to concentrate a 20 salt solution 20 kg of salt in 100 kg of solution to a 30 salt solution in an evaporator. Consider a feed of 300 kg min at 30 C. The boiling point of the solution is 110 C. The latent heat of vaporization is 2100 kJ/kg and the specific heat of the solution is 4 kJ/kg. The rate at which the heat has to be supplied in kJ min to the evaporator is A. 3.06 x L05, B. 6.12 x 10⁵, C. 7.24 x 10⁵, D. 9.08 x 10⁵. The correct answer is 3.06 x L05. LMTD for counterflow and parallel flow heat exchanger will be the same when the A. cold fluid is heated to a certain temperature by condensing steam isothermal fluid. B. outlet temperature of both the hot and cold fluid are same. C. outlet temperature of hot fluid is less than the outlet temperature of the cold fluid. D. none of these. The correct answer is Cold fluid is heated to a certain temperature by condensing steam isothermal fluid. For flow over a flat plate, the ratio of thermal boundary layer thickness xt and hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness x is equal to where NPR Prandtl number A NPR, B NPR 13, C NPR 1, D NPR 13. The correct answer is NPR 13. The range of electromagnetic spectrum important in heat transfer by radiation is microns. A 0.38 0.78, B 0.550, C 100 1000, D 550. The correct answer is 0.550. Use of transverse baffles in a shell and tube heat exchanger is done to increase the A rate of heat transfer, B flow velocity, C turbulence of shell side fluid, D all A, B and C. The correct answer is all A, B and C. The actual temperature drop across the heating surface of an evaporator depends on the A liquid depth over the heating surface, B solution being evaporated, C pressure difference between the steam chest and the vapor space above the boiling liquid, D all A, B and C. The correct answer is all A, B and C. Economy of a multiple effect evaporator depends upon the A heat balance consideration, B rate of heat transfer, C both A and B, D neither A nor B. The correct answer is heat balance consideration. The Gray's number is concerned with the A mass transfer between a gas and a liquid, B absorption with chemical reaction, C heat transfer in turbulent flow, D heat transfer in laminar flow. The correct answer is heat transfer in laminar flow. Solid angle subtended by the finite surface at the radiating element is A called the view factor, B called the angle of vision, C proportional to the square of the distance between surfaces, D expressed in terms of radians. The correct answer is called the angle of vision. Pick out the wrong statement. A. The emissivity of a surface decreases if it gets corroded by atmospheric environment. B. The emissivity of a surface increases with increase in surface roughness. C. The emissivity of a polished surface is quite low. D. The emissivity of a non-metallic surface decreases with increase in the temperature. The correct answer is the emissivity of a surface decreases if it gets corroded by atmospheric environment. In forced convection, the heat transfer depends on A. Re-PR, B. Re-GR, C. Mainly GR, D. Re only. The correct answer is Re-PR. With increase in temperature, the thermal conductivity of most liquids A. increases, B. decreases, C. remains same, D. first increases up to a certain temperature and then becomes constant. The correct answer is decreases. Heat transfer by may not necessarily require the presence of a medium. A. conduction, B. natural convection, C. forced convection, D. radiation. The correct answer is radiation. Pick out the correct statement. A. higher is the temperature of the radiating body, higher is the wavelength of radiation. B. logarithmic mean area is used for calculating the heat flow rate through a thick-walled cylinder. C. the wavelength corresponding to maximum monochromatic emissive power increases with rise in temperature. D. solid angle subtended by the finite surface at the radiating element is called the angle of incidence. The correct answer is logarithmic mean area is used for calculating the heat flow rate through a thick-walled cylinder. In a shell and tube type heat exchanger, the floating tube bundle heat arrangement is used. A. In low range of temperature differences. B. In high range of temperature differences. C. Because of its low cost. D. To prevent corrosion of the tube bundles. The correct answer is in high range of temperature differences. Stefan-Boltzman law applies to body. A. Black. B. White. C. Gray. D. Any color. The correct answer is black. The film coefficient is decreased due to the presence of non-condensing gases in the vapors. The film coefficient of superheated vapor as compared to that of saturated vapor is A. More. B. Less. C. Some. D. Either more or less depends on the nature of vapor. The correct answer is some. A perfect black body is a perfect of radiation. A. Absorber. B. Emitter. C. Both A. B. D. Neither A nor B. The correct answer is both A. B. In case of parallel flow heat exchanger, the lowest temperature theoretically attainable by the hot fluid is the outlet temperature of the cold fluid. A. Equal to. B. More than. C. Less than. D. Either more or less than depending upon the fluid. The correct answer is equal to. An equipment which converts the latent or sensible heat of one fluid into the latent heat of vaporization of another is called A. Boiler. B. Heat exchanger. C. Recuperator. D. Regenerator. The correct answer is heat exchanger. Which of the following is directly concerned with the heat transfer? A. Struhel number. B. Sherwood number. C. Euler number. D. Grasshopper number. The correct answer is Grasshopper number. Pick out the wrong statement. A. With change in temperature the radiant energy emitted by a black body remains unchanged. B. Absorptivity of a body approaches unity in case of diffuse reflection. C. Absorptivity of a perfectly black body is unity. D. Value of Stefan-Boltzman constant is 4.876 x 10^8 K. Call M2.HR. K4. The correct answer is with change in temperature the radiant energy emitted by a black body remains unchanged. Planck's distribution law is valid for bodies. A. Black. B. White. C. Colored. D. All ABC. The correct answer is colored. For hot feed, forward feeding as compared to backward feeding results in economy. A. Increased. B. Decreased. C. No effect on. D. None of these. The correct answer is increased. Radiation energy is emitted by all the substances which are above. A. 0 K. B. 0 C. C. 100 C. D. Room temperature. The correct answer is 0 K.